I met Kyle on a dating app. He seemed normal enough, cute, funny, and polite. We messaged for a couple of weeks before I felt comfortable inviting him over for a casual movie night. I wasn't reckless. I made sure a few friends knew about my plans, and I even told him he'd be sleeping on the couch if he stayed too late. He laughed and said, "No problem." When he arrived, he was charming, but something about him felt off. His eyes darted around my apartment like he was taking mental notes. I brushed it off, assuming I was just nervous. The evening went smoothly, but as the night wore on, I started feeling uneasy. His questions became strangely personal, like he was prying into my daily routine, my work schedule, even how often I spoke to my neighbors. At around midnight, I yawned and stretched. "I think I'm gonna head to bed." Kyle smiled. "Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me." I grabbed a blanket and pillow from my closet and set them on the couch for him. Then I went to my room, locked the door, and got into bed. I wasn't asleep for more than 15 minutes when I heard a knock. "Hey, do you have an extra phone charger? My battery's dead." I hesitated, but figured it was a reasonable request. I cracked the door open, handed him an extra charger, and quickly shut the door, locking it again. 15 minutes later, another knock. "Sorry, but do you have an extra pillow? The couch isn't too comfy." I sighed, grabbed a pillow, and opened the door just enough to shove it through the crack. An hour passed, then another knock. I sat up, heart pounding. "What?" I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. Kyle chuckled awkwardly. Hey, can I use your bathroom? The one out here is kinda weird." My stomach dropped. The bathroom in the hallway worked fine. I had no idea why he'd need to use mine. "Just use the one out there," I said firmly. He sighed dramatically. Okay, sorry to bother you." At this point, I was wide awake, my gut screaming at me that something wasn't right. I grabbed my phone and texted my best friend. "Kyle is acting really weird. If I don't reply in 10 minutes, call the cops." I barely set my phone down when there was another knock. This time, more insistent. "Hey, I think there's something wrong with your front door. It won't lock properly. You should come check it out." I wasn't falling for it. "No thanks. I'll look in the morning." Silence. Then, barely above a whisper, he said, "I really think you should come out here." I didn't respond. I just sat there, heart pounding. After a moment, I heard his footsteps retreat. I listened intently, waiting for another knock. But instead, I heard something worse. The soft click of my bedroom doorknob turning. My blood ran cold. I had locked it. I was sure of it. But the knob jiggled again, more forcefully this time. He was trying to get in. I grabbed my phone and dialed 911, whispering to the operator that someone was trying to break into my room. As I did, I heard him muttering on the other side of the door. "Come on, just open up. We were having a good time, weren't we?" I stayed silent. Then, a loud bang. He was throwing his weight against the door. Again. And again. I was shaking so hard I almost dropped the phone. The operator assured me officers were on the way, but I wasn't sure if they'd make it in time. I grabbed the heaviest thing within reach, a lamp, and braced myself. Then, just as suddenly as it started, the pounding stopped. Silence. I strained my ears, barely breathing. Then I heard the front door creak open. Flashing red and blue lights flooded my bedroom window. The cops. After what felt like forever, an officer knocked on my bedroom door and called my name. I slowly unlocked it and stepped out, my legs nearly giving out beneath me. Kyle was gone. The front door had been left wide open, but the cops found him just a block away, walking briskly, as if nothing had happened. In his pocket, a syringe with an unknown substance, and in the living room, various tools and plastic lining unfurled across the floor, like he had been preparing for something far worse. The officer looked me dead in the eye and said, "He wasn't planning on leaving tonight. At least, not without you." I never heard from Kyle again. But I deleted the dating app, changed my locks, and never, ever invited a stranger into my home again.
I've always been skeptical of dating apps, but my friends convinced me to try one. That's how I met Jake. He seemed perfect, handsome, charming, and just the right amount of mysterious. After chatting for a couple of weeks, we decided to meet for dinner. The night went well. He was polite, made me laugh, and walked me to my car like a gentleman. There were no red flags. So when he asked if I wanted to come over the following weekend to watch a movie, I didn't hesitate. I arrived at his place, a small but well-kept apartment on the edge of town. The inside was surprisingly bare. No pictures, no decorations, just the essentials. "I just moved in," he said with a grin, as if reading my mind. We ordered takeout and picked a movie. But as the night wore on, something felt off. I noticed how little he actually spoke about himself. Anytime I asked about his past, he'd smoothly change the subject. Then things got weirder. At one point, I got up to use the bathroom. When I came back, my drink had been moved slightly. I knew I left it on the coaster, but now it was an inch to the left. I tried to shake it off as paranoia. Later, as I curled up on the couch, I noticed something else. His phone was nowhere in sight. Not on the table, not in his pocket. He had been texting earlier, but now it was completely absent. Maybe he put it away to be polite, I told myself. That's when he asked, "Do you want to stay over? It's late. I don't want you driving tired." It was a reasonable offer, but my gut told me to go home. "Thanks, but I think I'll just head out," I said, forcing a smile. His expression changed, just for a second. So quick I almost missed it. A flicker of something cold. Then, just as fast, his easygoing smile was back. "Of course. Let me grab your coat." As he walked to the closet, my curiosity got the best of me. I glanced at the door leading to what I assumed was his bedroom. It was slightly ajar, revealing nothing but darkness. And then, I saw it. A shadow. A figure was standing inside the room, motionless. My blood ran cold. I could barely breathe. I turned back just as Jake returned, holding my coat. He followed my gaze and froze. For the first time that night, he looked genuinely surprised. Then slowly he grinned. "I was hoping you wouldn't see that." I didn't wait. I snatched my coat, bolted for the door, and yanked it open. As I sprinted to my car, I could hear him laughing behind me. Not chasing me, just laughing. I didn't stop until I was safely home. My hands were shaking as I blocked his number and deleted the app. I barely slept that night, my mind racing with questions. The next day, I searched his name online. There was nothing. No social media, no records, no proof that he even existed. But the worst part? I checked the app to see if his profile was still there. It wasn't. Like he had never been there at all. But later that night, as I was lying in bed, my phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. "You saw too much. But don't worry. I'll see you again soon." And attached was a picture of me, taken from inside my bedroom. My heart stopped. I sat frozen, my breath shallow. Slowly, I turned my head to the closet. The door was open just a crack. I hadn't left it that way. The silence in my apartment was suffocating, and I forced myself to move. I grabbed my phone and dialed 911 with shaking hands. The operator's voice was calm, asking what my emergency was. "There's someone in my apartment," I whispered. Then, soft as a breath, a voice from inside the closet spoke. "No need to call them. I'm already here." I never expected my first date with Jeremy to take place in the middle of the woods. When we matched on the app, he suggested something different. A secluded picnic near an old hiking trail. "It's quiet, peaceful, and I make a killer charcuterie board," he joked. I was hesitant, but after some back and forth, I agreed. He seemed normal enough, funny, kind, and charming over text. Plus, he sent me a picture of the setup, blanket, candles, and a spread of cheese and fruit. It looked romantic, and I was tired of the usual coffee shop dates. The drive took me farther than I expected. The sun was beginning to set by the time I arrived at the dirt path he mentioned. My reception was spotty and I couldn't see his car anywhere. I texted him, "Here!" A minute later he responded, "Walk straight down the path. I'm set up by the clearing." Something about it felt off, but I had already come all this way, so I grabbed my bag and started walking. The deeper I went, the quieter it got. No birds, no wind, just the crunch of my footsteps. I kept checking my phone, but the signal was gone. I thought about turning around when I saw it, the picnic set up exactly like in the picture. But Jeremy wasn't there. A chill ran down my spine. The food was untouched, the candles were unlit, and then I noticed there was another blanket, spread out just a few feet away. On it, a set of clothes, neatly folded, a pair of shoes placed side by side, like someone had been sitting there and vanished. "Jeremy?" I called, my voice barely above a whisper. Silence. I turned back, heart pounding, and that's when I saw him. Not Jeremy, but a man standing just inside the tree line, half hidden in the shadows, watching me. I couldn't see his face, only the outline of his body. He didn't move, didn't speak, just stood there, as if waiting for something. I didn't wait to find out what. I ran. Branches scratched my arms as I sprinted back toward my car, lungs burning. I could hear something behind me, footsteps fast and heavy, but I didn't dare look back. When I reached my car, I fumbled with the lock, threw myself inside, and peeled out onto the road. My hands were shaking so badly I could barely hold the wheel. A notification popped up on my phone. One new message from Jeremy. I opened it with trembling fingers. It was a picture of me, standing at the picnic, taken from the trees, and then another message. "You weren't supposed to run. You were supposed to drink, like the others. Now I have to find you again."
So, I met this girl on a dating app back in October. Her name was Leah, and her profile was pretty standard. Cute selfies, liked hiking, horror movies, claimed to be a bit introverted but curious. We exchanged messages for a week before she suggested meeting up. Thing was, she didn't want to go to a bar or restaurant. She wanted to meet at this local trail about 15 minutes from town. A bit weird for a first date, but I figured maybe she really liked nature. And she was gorgeous. Like, out of my league gorgeous, so I wasn't going to push it. When I pulled into the trailhead parking lot around 6 p.m., it was already getting dark. Hers was the only other car there. She was standing by it, dressed in black leggings, a hoodie, and boots. She waved as I got out. I remember feeling like something was a little off the moment I approached. Her smile didn't quite reach her eyes, and she kept glancing over her shoulder at the woods. We walked for maybe 10 minutes. It was awkward. She didn't say much, just kept looking at me, really looking at me, like she was studying every blink and breath. Then she asked, "Have you ever felt like someone's watching you, even when you're alone?" I laughed nervously, brushing it off. "You mean like paranoia?" She stopped walking. "No," she said flatly. "I mean when you know someone's there, but you can't prove it, like when you hear breathing and realize it's not yours." My stomach dropped a little. We stood there in the darkening woods, surrounded by silence. I pulled out my phone to check the time and noticed I had no signal. That's when she leaned in and whispered, "You don't recognize me, do you?" I blinked. "What?" Leah tilted her head. "I was behind you, at the grocery store, 2 weeks ago. You picked up a box of cereal, read the back of it, then put it back. You never saw me, but I saw you." She said it like it was the most normal thing in the world. I laughed again, but it came out more like a wheeze. "You're joking, right?" She just stared. "You leave your blinds open a lot. You should really stop doing that." I started backing away. "I think I'm gonna head out." She didn't move, just stood there, watching. As I turned and walked quickly back toward the lot, I heard her say, not yell, just loud enough, "You shouldn't have unmatched me the first time." I didn't remember unmatching anyone named Leah, and I definitely didn't remember anyone who looked like her. When I got to the lot, her car was gone. Mine wouldn't start. It took me 25 minutes of panic and freezing before a ranger drove by and gave me a jump. I didn't tell him anything. I didn't even know what to say. A few days later, I went back on the dating app. Leah's profile was gone, but there was a new one. Different name, different city, same photos, same eyes. This time, the bio just said, "I remember you."
This happened last fall, and even now I can't fully explain it. I've told myself over and over that it was some kind of sick joke or an elaborate prank. But the truth is, it still haunts me. So yeah, I was on a dating app. Just one of the common ones. Nothing weird. I wasn't looking for love or anything serious, just someone to talk to or hang out with. That's when I matched with someone named Elena. Her profile was simple. A couple of photos, all black and white, almost vintage. One showed her sitting alone in a diner booth, smiling softly like a frame out of a noir film. No heavy filters, no group selfies. It felt different, refreshing even. Her bio was short: horror movies, jazz music, watching people who think they're alone. I laughed at that last part. I figured she was being edgy, trying to stand out. It worked. I messaged her something dumb like, "Should I be flattered or creeped out?" She replied almost instantly, "Depends on what you do when you think no one's watching." The way she responded so quickly every time. It started to feel strange after a while. Always just one or two sentences. Never emojis, never LOL or GIFs or anything casual. Her messages were always calm, perfectly typed, and somehow cold. Still, I played along. She said she lived about 5 miles from me, but wouldn't say which part of town. When I asked to FaceTime, she said her camera was broken. I offered to call instead. "I don't like how my voice sounds through phones," she said. Fine, red flag, but I've met enough awkward people online to let it slide. A few nights into messaging, she asked if I wanted to meet. I hesitated. She suggested we keep it low-key and meet outside her work late at night. She said she cleaned offices after hours and had a short window during her break. The address she gave me was in an industrial district. Not quite abandoned, but run down. Old warehouses, scrapyards, a few fenced-off buildings that hadn't been updated in decades. I recognized the area. Not the kind of place people usually hung out, let alone scheduled dates. I double-checked the address before I left. She texted, "Wait by the blue door. Don't knock. Just wait." The building was dark when I got there. Empty street, one busted-out lamp flickering every few seconds, and the sound of a loose metal sign creaking in the wind. And there it was. A blue door, paint peeling, covered in grime. No one was around, not even a car. I waited. 5 minutes passed, then 10. At exactly 9:13, my phone buzzed. "Stay by the door. Don't turn around." I actually laughed. I thought she was being dramatic. Some kind of roleplay thing, maybe? But something about the message made the air feel heavier, like someone had just whispered over my shoulder. I checked my reflection in the cracked glass window of the blue door. And that's when I saw it. There was someone standing behind me. I turned instantly, but no one was there. I looked both ways down the street. Nothing. Not even the echo of footsteps. I even looked up, expecting someone to be watching from a window, but the building was dark, completely lifeless. Another text came in. "You moved." Now I wasn't laughing anymore. I typed, "Okay, seriously, is this a joke?" No reply. A sudden breeze kicked up, and I swore I heard something scrape lightly behind me, like a shoe dragging against concrete. But again, when I looked, there was nothing. I turned on my flashlight and started walking quickly back toward my car. About halfway there, my phone buzzed again. "You're going the wrong way." I stopped cold. My car was parked right in front of me, maybe 40 feet away. The street was still empty. Silent. My fingers trembled as I unlocked the car, jumped inside, and slammed the door. I locked it immediately. sat there for a second, trying to catch my breath. I opened the app to unmatch her, report her, anything. But her profile was gone. Not unmatched. Gone. Even the message history, gone. As if she'd never existed. My phone buzzed again. This time it was a text. "We don't match anymore, but I liked how you looked when you thought you were alone." That was it. I drove home shaking, kept checking the rearview mirror every couple seconds. When I got home, I deleted the app, blocked the number, changed my privacy settings. I didn't sleep that night. But the next night, I tried to convince myself it was just a weird experience. A prank. Someone playing a game. Until I checked my front door camera the next morning. At exactly 2:47 a.m., the camera had recorded a figure walking up to my porch. A woman. Long dark hair, standing with her back to the door, perfectly still. Not moving. Not knocking. She stood there for 13 minutes. And then walked off into the dark. The camera didn't get her face, but I recognized the outline of the dress from Elena's photo. I moved a week later, got a new phone, new number. But sometimes, even now, I still get random texts, no number, no app name, just a message. Usually only a few words. But last week it said, "I like the new apartment."